Welcome back to the program, The Podium, live on the SLBC. You can be part of our conversation this afternoon by sending your text to the number 030073719, or you can follow us on our SLBC Facebook page at SLBC TV Channel 30. Well, let's move on. A high-power delegation from the University of Sierra Leone, led by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Fodisa, has ended a visit to Gamal Abdel Nasser University in Conakry, Guinea, to discuss the possibility of training dentists at Commerce University of Sierra Leone. The two universities also signed an MOU facilitated by Master Shape. For more on that, I have the Director of Public Relations, Alumni and International Relations at the University of Sierra Leone, James Tambalebi. Good afternoon, welcome to the program, JT.
Good afternoon, Salma. Good afternoon, viewer.
Okay, give us an idea why this Gamal Abdel Nasser University. What is exceptional as you think as a university could sign an MOU for possibility of training of dentists?
Well, let's put it into perspective and context. So, when the Vice Chancellor took over, the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone assumed office, he embarked on what he called the re-engineering of the university. And it's about, part of it is curriculum review and introducing specialization in programs. So as part of that re-engineering, the Commerce introduced dentistry, which was never part of the curriculum and training in the medical profession. So, but then the department will need staff, it will need capacity to run. And then we had this relationship with Master Shape. We all know what Master Shape is doing in the medical field. So in July, the University of Sierra Leone signed an MOU with Master Shape. The Master Shape also has a relationship, a collaboration with Gamal Abdel Nasser University. It will appear that their flagship program at that university is dental education. And indeed, when we went there, I was part of the delegation, you can actually see that the dentistry, the faculty of dentistry stands tall and above the university. They have all what it takes to do the training. They have the international funding. They are supported by Master Shape and other international bodies. You go to the dental school, you see the laboratory, see the dental clinic, and you actually see that there is quality here. So because of that quality, because of that standout faculty in dentistry, Master Shape was able to facilitate a collaboration between the University of Sierra Leone and the Gamal University for the training of dentists, so that they can come back, build the capacity of the Department of Dentistry, and by extension support the medical sector in the country.
Yeah, because that's the question I wanted to ask. You signed an MOU at the end of the visitation. So what could be the contribution of both the University of Sierra Leone and Gamal? I know the first thing, they will provide capacity building. So
Gamal is providing the space, the facility, and the training. Master Shape is paying for the students, is providing scholarship for the students. And the Universities of Sierra Leone right now, it's responsible for, they have identified the student, they are doing basic courses in French now, because part of the instruction will have to be in French. Yeah. And now they have to spend one academic year doing French. So they've already started there. So University of Sierra Leone Commerce is facilitating that process. And in October, in the first week of October, 7 students will travel to Guinea to start a 5-year program in dentistry.
So after that 5 year, what next? At that time, will the College of Medicine be capacitated enough to be handling, students who want to go into dentistry?
This is one of a couple of activities the university administration is embarking on to capacitate the Department of Dentistry. We are working on other collaborations to see how faculty members can come and support whilst we are training. We are trying to have home-based dentists. So, but this is one of many activities between the University of Sierra Leone and Master Shape, but also between the University of Sierra Leone and Gamal for the training of dentists.
Was the university not aware that you don't have the human resource before establishing a department of dentists?
Well, you don't. In development, there is the dialogue between getting the capacity and establishing the program, or establishing the program and then getting the capacity. Which one is the prime mover? There is an argument. But what is important is we have taken the first step to establish the department. And what we are doing now is to build on the human capacity to populate and capacitate that department.
So beside this agreement with Gamal University, let's talk about the also specialized dentists in the country who are Sierra Leoneans. Do you intend to actually get them on board?
Absolutely.
Or you depend solely on what you have signed with this university?
The university is starting with what is available now while training. There has to be sustainability. So it means a continuous training of manpower to support that department. So it means we start with what we have whilst we building capacity, and capacity building is an ongoing thing. If you don't do that, then there will be no sustainability of the program.
Okay, so let's talk about other areas of the MOU. What makes it sustainable or something that is tangible after the 5-year period?
Yeah, good question. As pointed out by the rector of the university, the Gamal University, the head of the university is known as the rector. They are looking forward to other areas of collaboration, not just in the area of dentistry, but they are looking at bilingual collaboration. And as pointed out also by our Vice Chancellor and Principal Professor, Brigadier General Professor Sir, we are looking at the possibility of undertaking joint research, submitting joint proposal, but also exchange, student and staff exchange. So we're working on other possibilities, and it was agreed between the two heads of the two institutions that collaboration is the way forward, and there is need, like the Vice Chancellor pointed out, there is need for collaboration at the sub-regional level before stepping it to beyond the borders of the sub-region.
Okay, so aside this, let's talk about also something that concerns University of Sierra Leone.
Yes.
There is this notice from Sierra Leone Commercial Bank as to the bank is actually, whilst an investigation, or I think they noticed to their own system about a possible fraud, because you also have accounts as different colleges within the bank. So there is an alert on the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank to you as tertiary institutions. I don't know if universities are aware of this.
Yes, I saw the notice. And I tried to reach out to the comms person at Sierra Leone Commercial Bank to get an insight of their experience. We have our own experience, so I was trying to see whether we can compare notes to see what they're experiencing is also what we are experiencing. But what we are experiencing is this: there are 3 categories of fraud so far, as far as we know, or as far as preliminary investigations have revealed. You have one category of students who come with fake bank slips to register, claiming they have paid. You have other category of students who present fake examination slips to enable them to enter the exams hall to write their exams. And you have another category of students who collude with some officials of the college, of the different colleges, to register without paying their fees and meeting their financial obligations. So we have those 3 categories, but like you said, investigations are ongoing. It's too early to tell. We'll get to the bottom of it, and then we'll come to the public.
So far, what is the bank saying? What are they actually communicating?
That is what we want to know as a university, because the notice is not too clear. Mm-hmm. What we know, what we try to decipher from the notice is that some level of fraud is going on, and we are experiencing that. So we need to compare notes to see what they are talking about is what we are experiencing, and we are getting to the bottom of that as soon as the process is underway as I speak to you. But like I said, I will not dismiss the idea that it has to do with students beating the system and getting fake bank slips, which they are using to register in different public and private institutions.
Is this raising further eyebrows as a result of what is happening between officials within the university who are in charge of maybe these sectors you mentioned and that of the bank?
Absolutely. The university need every penny to sustain its activities. Funding, it's few and far between. Students are not paying their fees. A bulk of them are on SLG, and those monies are not forthcoming. And you have the other students who are paying for themselves and trying to beat the system. It's raising eyebrows because it means the university is losing a huge chunk of money, and we need those monies to sustain our activities, but also to add quality to our services.
How cooperative will the university be to actually weed out the set of people?
This university stands to gain. If the university is not cooperative, then it stands to lose. So the ball is in our court.
The mere fact the bank is now actually alerting tertiary institution, which means there's more to this.
Those monies should go to the accounts of the universities. So it means the universities have to be serious. So the universities, in this case, the University of Sierra Leone, will have no option but to collaborate and to cooperate with the banks to get to the bottom of this fraud, this alleged fraud.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Commissioner J.T. Levy, who is the Director of Alumni International Relations at the University of Sierra Leone. Later, we're looking at issues of new courses within the university. Continue to stay. That's the program you're watching. Is the Podium live on the SLBC. Be part of the conversation. Sending the text to the number 030-073-719. Let's move on. The Political Party Regulation Commission has ended a week-long training for multi-party for members of various political parties in Soa, Bense, and Kamachi district. The training centered on capacitating members of various political parties to become peace ambassadors through dialogue, negotiation, consensus building. Participants were also schooled on the newly enacted PPRC Act of 2022, the role of political parties in national development, and the effect of hate speech, among others. Joining us in the studios to dissect more on this, I have the Director of Training and External Relations, PPRC, Lucille Momo. Good afternoon, Lucille. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
All right. I know there are lots of changes and regulations within the PPRC Act, and it's a document that every other politician, regardless of the political parties, need to know. In the first place, give us the background. Why do you think such a training is needed at a time when we are just ended elections? Many people thought that such a training should be out before the elections.
Well, of course, this is part of the Human Security Project under the United Nations Development Program. We should have had these trainings even before the 2023 elections. It all started after the 2018 elections, where the commission went around and we spoke with the leadership of political parties at regional level, district level and nationally, to know their challenges and how to amend those challenges. Fast forward to before the 2023 elections, we had to review the Political Parties Act number 3 of 2002, bringing in the Political Parties Act number 25 of 2022, wherein we now have the Code of Conduct as a schedule in the new Act. Owing to the fact that we no longer have the Code of Conduct as a gentleman's agreement as it was, and owing to the fact that we no longer have the District Code Monitoring Committee, and owing to the fact now that we have the Code of Conduct as a schedule, and we need to get the political parties together in a forum where they can discuss issues affecting political parties at various levels. So we are piloting the program in Kono district, basically in Soa, Kamara and Bense chiefdom. And the training, which lasted for 6 days, 2 days in each of these chiefdom, is to get the political parties at that level to know the laws guiding political parties, to be au fait with the Political Parties Act, because most of them, never saw, never read the Political Parties Act, and some of them never saw, never read even their own party constitution. They are not aware of the provisions of their constitution and all of this. So we went in to train the entire representative of political parties in those regions. Mind you, all political parties are not represented in that region. So we trained about 6 political parties that are represented in all of the chiefdoms visited. So this training, as you said in your intro, includes informing them, making them know the provisions of the Political Parties Act, the changes in the Political Parties Act, the new inclusions in the Political Parties Act. These include, we never had anything to do with women inclusion in the Act. Mind you, in 2022, we made progress by having 3 progressive acts being passed by Parliament. One is the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act, the GIWI Act of 2022. The second one is the Public Elections Act of 2022. And the third is the Political Parties Act of 2022. Now, all of these complement each other, starting with the GIWI Act. The GIWI Act says that women should be given opportunity to be represented at all strata in Sierra Leone, and also given the opportunity to access finances, which for us has been a problem with women who want to take part in politics, who wants to lead their political parties in various at various levels. And there comes in the Public Elections Act that complements the GIWI Act, with Section 58 of the Public Elections Act that states that when political parties are nominating candidates, after every 2 male, the third person should be a female. And then you go to the Political Parties Act, which helps to operationalize the Public Elections Act and the GIWI Act. It states that political parties must endeavor to comply with Section 58 of the Public Elections Act, and there are penalties for non-compliance, which includes warning them or banning them from participating in that elections if they do not follow that order, and also even levying fines on them if they do not follow 58 of the Public Elections Act, and also the inclusion of the Code of Conduct as a schedule in the Political Parties Act number 25 of 2022. The Code of Conduct before now was a mere gentleman's agreement without the force of law. But with the Political Parties Act of 2022, there are punitive measures. And with the change of name of the commission from a registration commission, which to an extent limits the powers of the PPRC before now, and with the extreme penalty in the 2002 Act, which was that for every infraction of that Act, then only punishment for political party is to deregister political party, and we thought it that it's extreme for any infraction to deregister. That is why in the new Act we have procedures that will follow to deal with political parties who are in contravention of the laws, and one by issuing a warning, second by issuing a fine, third by suspending a political party, and the ultimate penalty is by deregistering political parties. So, and even with the registration of political parties now, we don't apply to the Supreme Court as before. We deregister, and if you thought it fit, you take us to the Supreme Court. And also one good thing in the Political Parties Act of 2022 is that the PPRC is now a corporate body which can sue and be sued in its name. Political parties are also now corporate bodies which can sue and be sued in their name. They also have the rights to own and dispose of properties. Before now,
because I wanted to ask that question. The new law is talking about political parties as corporate bodies. Why?
Yes, over the years, political parties do not own properties. They do not own assets. Their board of trustees, are the people who signed up for these properties, and that is why some people thought they are the owners of these political parties. And before now, you cannot sue a political party in its name. you sue the chairman and the secretary general of that political party, and some people, because of that thought, they are the owners of those political parties, and they will say in our local parlance, not owner then sue, now we then sue. So a political party can now be sued in its own name as a political party, and it can also sue in its name. And now the good thing again about the act is that before now people have been enjoying the benefits of political parties when the political parties themselves do not enjoy those. People organize dinners, people print t-shirts and regalia of political parties without anything going to the party. So now for an individual to embark on any activity, a profitable activity in the name of the political party, there must be an agreement between the individual, the organization, or the political party, so that in that agreement, whatever profit comes in, the political party, will benefit. We see people printing political parties regalia for almost all of the political parties, enjoying the profits, of those prints, and the political party not getting anything from the proceeds made therein. So now, whatever you want to do in the name of a political party, there must be an agreement between the individual, the organization, and the political party.
So let's talk about the engagement one weekend. What are the issues that you think needed some attention from the PPRC and even the political parties? Even
with the inclusion of women, there are several challenges, faced by the women, in SOA chiefdom. There was a lady who, when we were doing the session on negotiation, dialogue, and consensus building, we had role plays, and all of these role plays, speaks to the issues affecting political parties. It cuts across. And the issue of women being pushed away from leading political parties, and the issue of men demanding a relationship or sex before giving position to women, all of this came up, and the issue of political parties not being able to solve their political issues internally. So the role play speaks about a lady who is in love with someone and wanted to go over. The guy lives across the river with crocodiles, and then on the day she wanted to go, there was rain, the bridge was washed away. She approached a boat captain who gave her an ultimatum that sleep with me before I take you over. She went and consulted a friend who did not want to be involved in this, say go try the anatomy business. And then she went, slept with the man took her over, and when she went over, explained to her boyfriend her ordeal, and when she explained she was driven away by this boyfriend, she explained to a friend who did not even ask the boyfriend what happened, and this friend went and gave the lover the beating of his life, and all of this. So these are just some of the issues. There are certain times when certain people come for advice. If you don't proffer the correct advice, the person might be misled. There are certain people who goes the extra mile to get what they want. And there are certain people in political parties who do not listen to the other side of the divide, but take action based on what someone has said. So they had to rank those people from 1 to 5, best to worst. And it will interest you that there are several arguments that no, this is the best, this is the worst. Some people take someone's worst as the best based on their own perspective. Why we did those role play? Because we want them as political parties. They went into groups to agree and disagree. We did it specifically for them to know that in politics you have to agree, you have to dialogue, you negotiate, and then you come to a consensus that okay, we agree. There was an issue in Bense. One of the political party rep was in group 3. Because he was not listened to in Group 3, his ideas were not taken in Group 3, he switched to Group 4. He said, until you are not listening to me, I had to go by under. You know, so he was unable to get his own side. In politics, we have what we call political exigencies. At times we forget about the constitution of the political party. Look at the good, the overall good of the political party. So this is the situation nationally. Forget about being a member of party A or party B. Look at Sierra Leone. When mediating, people must shift grounds. So when they were seated, they seated as political party. They thought we were going to divide them as political parties. We mixed them up. You pick 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody goes to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go and negotiate, dialogue, and then come up with a consensus to us. So that is the training we gave to them. That in the midst of conflict, there must be a solution. It's not always no me no degree Laguna Court. Our former boss, the late Honorable Justice Tola Thompson, once said to political parties, avoid the law courts, because when you go to the court further divides you. Come to the PPRC, because the PPRC don't divide you. If you fail to have a consensus, and then we'll look at what your laws say. And if the law is extreme, we'll advise, go and sit as a political party and come up with solutions. So that is of the good of the party. So that particular session is about getting political parties to imbibe the culture of dialoguing and negotiating issues within themselves.
Okay, but Lucian, again, you went to a district, Kono, when we all know the history. For the past elections, it was a district hotly contested. Politically, they cannot tolerate themselves, a lot of conflict, violence. So during the training, after the elections, are they actually politically tolerating each other after the elections? Because there are issues, because I guess another aspect of the training is talk about hate speech, and we all know how divided Kono was during the elections. Kono in our hotspot mapping is one of the hotspots in Sierra Leone. Yeah. Kono, like Florida in the United States of America, is a swing state. It's a swing district. Today Kono will be on the left, tomorrow they will be on the right, the other day they will be in the middle, the other day they will be north or south. So, and one thing that came up very clearly is that when it's not elections, they are peaceful and they are together. But when it's elections, then the bad minds comes into play. People who used to see themselves as brothers and sisters will no longer see themselves as brothers and sisters. They will see themselves as enemy. In Kamara Chiefdom, we met an issue with a young man who, according to him, has been a philanthropist in that area, helping the young men, getting some of them out of place, out of jail. And when it came to election, someone who washed his car in the morning, in the evening hours, that same young man pelted stone and destroyed his screen. He was bitter, and they were ready for revenge. But what we did was to start the healing process, to talk to them. You cannot go back, because it will be you today, me tomorrow, you tomorrow, me next tomorrow, and the other day, and the other day, and the other day. So for them, when we constitute the smaller committee, because we cannot have a committee of 85 or 90 people to discuss issues, so we'll break up to a smaller committee of about 11 or 13 or 9, and then we'll look at the issue, the root causes of those issues, and see how it will not happen again. It will amaze you that after the program, there was an issue with this same young man who pelted stone on the windscreen of this other bigger young man, the Utah. That is how I call the bigger youths. And then this same young man was the one that was in the middle, trying to make peace among the younger boys who. So if that is the case, if that is the scenario when we are not in politics or in elections, that should be what we should practice during elections. And then we've even informed them. Someone asked a question, I think it was in Kamara Chiefdom. Someone asked a question,
if we fetch our party office, what in PPRC will do, and then I refer them to the act. You see this act, this small book. Now, this book also regulates political parties in their party office and in their events. Before now, political parties can fight in their party office. PPRC can do nothing. So this act now makes political parties should be civil even in their party office. Even within and among themselves, they should be civil. And this act also provides that operatives of political parties should also ensure that they conduct themselves within the confines of the law. I'm just coming from a strategic planning committee meeting, because our strategic plan ended in July this year, and I'm chairing that committee. We are also, as I said today, in our strategic communication plan, we're also going to incorporate the entertainment industry so that they will also serve as ambassadors of peace in their songs. A political party is now under fine because of a song being sung by an artist for that political party against another political party. So we don't want that situation going further to find political parties. We don't want to find political parties. We don't want to be enemies of political parties. We want to be so friendly with political parties.
Yeah, because that brings us to the question of how, again, this new act or maybe possible regulations could look at again how also as a commission you also should be accountable to political parties. Because there is this notion that many times when political parties do take their complaints or disputes to the commission, you further divide them. In fact, you delay, you take sides. At the end of the day, you know what, the political party just say, you know what, let's look at other options or just forget about this whole thing. Again, how will this new act also look at how the commission could be also be accountable to the people of Sierra Leone by also addressing, because again, the longer the issues are, again, this political, the internal structures also start to get issues.
That is a challenge that we have because of misinformation and information being peddled around about PPRC. PPRC, like the courts of Sierra Leone, when we take a decision that is not in your favor, the PPRC is biased. Let me give you two scenarios. Before the 2007 elections, the All People's Congress was in court. We had at that time, I was not part of the PPRC, the late Justice Sidney One. And they were asked to take their matter from court and come to PPRC. PPRC mediated that matter, and the ensuing election, the APC won. The SLPP served the longest of time like the APC with the PPRC. From 2012 until about 2016, the SLPP was with us. They were bashing us at some point. The pauper part of the SLPP or said the PPRC in support of the Wenwen part of the SLPP. And then when we finally mediated the SLPP, they came together. They won the 2018 elections. I will tell you, the current APC has the utmost respect for the PPRC, because when they came from convention, the chairman of the party, Alhaji Minkailu Mansare, openly said that they are really impressed with the PPRC. If it was not for the PPRC, they would not have been where they are today. When we were mediating the APC, they had the Team A and the Team B. At some point, Team B would say the former president has given the PPRC the sum of $500,000 United States dollars as bribe. And when decision affects Team A, Team B will say, Team A will say Team B has been used by powers, unseen powers, to influence the decision of the PPRC. If it was not for the PPRC, the APC would not have gone to convention. They will confirm that. The PPRC had taken steps that the PPRC should not take to ensure that political parties are together. There are certain times papers should be filed to court. We'll take both parties to the judge and ask for an interpretation of the rulings given by the judge. And that is being done out of the goodwill to ensure that political parties do not waste time in court. To ask for a judge to interpret his rulings, there are procedures by law that he should follow. But we take these factions to the judge in his chamber and beg for interpretation. Because the problem with politicians is, for those who are lettered, they interpret rulings or they interpret laws to suit their comfort. They don't interpret these laws to suit what the judge means or what the judge meant. So it is not uncommon for people to blame. Before now, in the old act says, when approached by the leadership of a political party, that is why in the instance case of the All People's Congress, when the NRM approached the PPRC before they wanted to adopt their constitution in Port Loco, we wrote to the leadership of the party, and the party quoted that section when approached by the leadership. And those who approached the PPRC were not part of the leadership. So we had to wash our hands off. Even though we wanted peace within them, they quoted the law. But with this new law, as long as you are a member of a political party, you are a paid-up member of a political party, you can bring a complaint against your party. With the old law, you cannot, unless you are part of the leadership. So that was why people who think the law was not protecting them at that time had to go to court. Because when they come to us, any of these political parties, because we are customers to both the APC and the SLPP, because at every point in time we have issues, within their membership, because most of them, and the problem we have with some of all of these other political parties is that, as I said before, some people just join political parties without knowing their policies. I was a little bit, and I'm sorry for a lady in Bense, Chiefdom. She was aspiring to be a candidate for the PMDC for councillorship. She said she won. She was to be placed on the list, and at the end of the day, they said because she's not educated, her name was wiped off, and her name was taken to a number that even if they won, she would not have been councillor. And then we told them it's not peculiar to you. Even with the APC and the SLPP, we had a case of a lawyer who was in the elections, who was supposed to be placed number 7 in the list for member of parliament. When they nominated at the ECSL, at the announcement of the results, when he saw the gazette, his name was not on number 7. His name was far behind, depriving him of being a member of parliament. He came in with a complaint, and we said, for the lady in Bense who told her, do you know the procedures in your political party constitution wherein it states about the awarding of symbols? And if you deprived, what you should do, the redress mechanisms in your party? No. For the other lawyer, we asked him to file in the report with his party and copy, but we've gone past that now, because nomination has taken place, elections are gone, and all of this. So it behoves everybody in a political party that aspires for position to ensure that they follow those documents to the end.
Okay, I'll come back to Lucille Momo, who is the Director of External Relations at the PPRC. Let's move on. Let me bring in again the Director of Alumni and International Relations at the University. We also saw the announcement of some courses at the university. Let us get a background, how marketable, and in the first place, why the university thinks at this time it's necessary to be doing such courses.
Again, let me take you to the re-engineering program of the University of Sierra Leone, which was initiated by the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone. So, like I said, it's a two-part thing. It's an academic overhaul, but also administrative re-engineering. So, on the academic side, all three constituent colleges underwent some reforms. So new courses were introduced, new programs were introduced, new faculties were introduced, new departments were introduced across the board. So what the respective colleges did was to write to the Tertiary Education Commission that we want to do these courses, and they have their checklist in terms of ascertaining whether the institutions have the capacity to drive those programs, including the staff profile. So when they are satisfied that we have the capacity to drive those programs, approval was given to roll out those programs. So these are the programs. It started with commerce, and then we have IPAM. IPAM had like 14 programs approved, postgraduates and undergraduates, and then lately we have 7 programs approved for Forabi College. These are courses that are in line with the job market. These are courses that are contemporary. So it's about enhancing the employability of our graduates. So we are responding to the job market. So basically that's that.
Yeah, so even whilst, as Director said, introducing new courses, are you also phasing out things, courses you think that actually
absolutely
at this point
there are courses that have become obsolete?
Like?
Yeah. We used to have Greek and Roman culture,
African
studies. Even at MassCom, you now have specializations. Yeah. So you're having students now, unlike earlier when you go and get a degree in mass communication, now you are getting a degree in public relations, you are getting a degree in journalism, you are getting a degree in development communication. So these are the specific things the job markets are looking for. So we are responding to the job market, and this cuts across all departments, all faculties of the university. So it's embedded in the VC's
Director,
re-engineering program.
Yeah, re-engineering program again, whilst introducing new courses, even with those current courses, people are concerned about, for example, postgraduate courses. You go into this course for something like 2 years, but you have to struggle close to 3 or 4 years to get like master's program, and a particular department has been named in relation to that, though I'm not going to name it on air. But again, how whilst this re-engineering program could address that aspect, because again, it's how you deliver such programs that attract more people to your college.
Yes, we are familiar. We are aware of those grumblings. We are aware of those comments. But largely, these are exceptional cases. It's not a rule. The rule is the programs run for master's program, they run between 18 months and 24 months, and you get it. But we also have certain programs that we acknowledge students are taking more than the fair share of time they should take to pursue those courses, and this is a concern. And we now have a new dean, and there is a change of baton, there is a change of deanship at the School of Postgraduate Studies. We now have Professor Fraser Williams. Hopefully we're looking forward to some reforms in the postgraduate program.
Okay, continue to be with us. Let's move on to another issue this afternoon. Since 1980, the United Nations World Tourism Organization has been observing World Tourism Day as international observations on the 27th of September. It was chosen when the statute of the UNWTO was adopted. The adoption of the statute is considered a milestone in global tourism. The purpose of the day is to raise awareness on the role of tourism within the international community and to demonstrate how it affects social, cultural, political, and economic values worldwide. The theme this year is talking about tourism and green investment. In Sierra Leone, an organization, Footprint Africa, an art and cultural organization, will be commemorating the day tomorrow. I have with me in the studios Yvette Beatrice Bangura, CEO of Footprint Africa. Good afternoon, welcome to the podium.
Good afternoon, Salma, and good afternoon, Sierra Leone, and people watching me.
Okay, so give us an idea, what's the interest of Footprint in observing this World Tourism Day with specific focus on promoting the issue of arts?
Okay, as I usually say, you cannot promote tourism leaving art behind, because it's the art and culture that tourists have interest in when they come to your country, and that's what they want to see. And we also talk about domestic tourism, in which we local tourists in the country need to enjoy what are the necessities in the country. Some people think when they said tourism or tourist, it only means international people coming into your country, forgetting that there are people living in this country that also need to benefit and enjoy what the country have as nature, lifestyle, culture, art, and a lot more. So our organization has been focusing on the development of art in the country. We are looking at art education, one, which has been the main focus in our flagship programs. That is lifting up the art in school, rising it again, giving it life, because people are saying art is dead. But we are specifically saying art can never be dead, because it's your daily life. You use it everywhere, in the hospital, in the media sectors, in the street, agriculture, and every different sectors you use art. So in this year, commemorating the International World Tourism Day, other countries like Jamaica, Gambia, and Ghana, they use tourism to boost their economic development. What is happening to Sierra Leone? All of us are just complaining. Yes, fine, we need to complain, but what are the solutions? So Footprint Africa has taken up this step to up the Ministry of Tourism in facilitating art and culture in the country. So within the line of the theme, which is tourism and green investment, simply tells you that there is no culture without agriculture. There is no tourism without culture or nature. So we really need this in developing our societies, in having quality leaders, and also developing the nation as an Africa country. So tomorrow is going to be World Tourism Day. So Footprint organization has been engaging community people in the training of trainers, teaching them what they miss in the classroom the past 25 years to 30 years, which they translate into glass plates, cups, torretos, and sumo. So now we are teaching these people this art as volunteers and trainers to go back to the schools, to the communities, and teach local people. So tomorrow, the trainers will put up performances like drama skits, that will tell us how we can use agriculture in boosting culture, how we can, map out issues affecting the classrooms in lifting up art, so that we can do performing arts in higher tertiary level, CPA in higher tertiary level. Yes, we know we are doing it, but it's really not encouraging, because I remember when I was in performing art department, I was the only student offering performing art department, which was really challenging and discouraging, because how can you do a play as a drama in performing art, then you're the only student, except I do a monologue, so I know other people too are facing these challenges. So now we want to train these people from the grassroots. We need art, performing arts from the basic, from nursery to primary to secondary. Then we can get the feelings to do it in tertiary levels.
So let's talk about how attractive is the issue of art within these primary schools. Are students actually, kids, is something that they like doing?
Exactly, they like it. How? Why? When we did our school tours in the different schools, you can see the passion in it, but the outside of the coconut, we even use it in doing our paintings, in our canvas drawings and all. So you can see there are a lot of things we use in art. Now, even the shaving, we know from agriculture is where we have timber. When we doing our waste to art, we went to carpentry shops, gather some shavings, put them into art, and get a fine design. So it simply tells you need agriculture to pursue proper culture and art.
So let's talk about how again the organization promote domestic tourism, because that is where the world is now turning attention to how your domestic tourism gives you so much money. For example, go to East Africa now. They don't depend on people coming to the country. They depend on their own nationals in promoting their domestic. So how you think your organization could actualize that?
Okay, now we're training 50 volunteers that we planning to make them self-owned entrepreneurs. These people gonna own their own businesses, have something they can live on. At the end of the day, they will be able to train their kids at home, train other people in the communities. We have also engaged in cleaning of our beaches, which we have been partnering with Propel organizations. Make sure that we have a clean beach so that we can have a better nature, and also like this art education has a lot to do with our inner selves, our mind. You see, a lot of people out in the streets get frustrated because they need counseling. Some of these people have talent. They get frustrated because I'm an artist, I'm a carver, I don't have a job, people don't give me job. Instead, people go and buy foreign furnitures, this is my talent, but I'm not making money from it. That's why we need the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Tourism, because they are the key factors, and Agriculture Ministry, to make sure we have tourism, proper one, practice in this country. So making this theme like tourism and green investment simply means agriculture and nature. Now we also the pollution. Vehicles are just puffing out a lot of smokes. They are cutting down trees. We don't have proper things to breathe from. I usually tell the Ministry of Tourism saying that Freetown is not Sierra Leone. All the times when tourists come, we just show them to Freetown, and really it's not. I cannot say we can be proud of that, because the city is so congested. Why are we not taking them to the provinces where they can see local community people, local villagers? Let them tell them our stories, tell us our stories. I believe if we start taking it back, to the village, to our old people, then we can get to where we want to get to. Because when you know where you're coming from, definitely we drive you to where you're going to. And we want to use tourism to boost our economic development in the country.
Okay, wish you the very best tomorrow as you observe this day repeat on Mora CEO Footprints Africa. Lucy, and the Kono experience was, a pilot phase. What's the experience? Do you intend to replicate to other districts?
Well, after piloting Kono, by next year, as part of our plans, we're also going to input it into our strategic plan, is to cascade it to other districts. So going forward, by mid next year, end of next year, we'll have the district multi-party forum in all of, working, because we've already established them. What we're going to do is to cascade this training and getting the smaller committees in the other districts, including
what would be their role?
Well, their role is to ensuring that political parties go by the code of conduct as set out in the Political Parties Act, and also their responsibility is from time to time to be reminding their members of the Political Parties Act, and also from time to time mediate issues between and among political parties.
Okay, thank you so much, Lucien. Director of Alumna, let's talk about how the engineering process within the university is also gaining momentum by getting the human resource base, because again, signing MOU with different universities could be a fantastic idea, because again, we're in a global village, we need each other. But again, at country level, you need a strong human resource base, even whilst the focus is to re-engineer and make the university poised with present day situations.
This is a challenge we don't have to gloss over. Now, a couple of years ago, a new policy was introduced wherein the government took over the payments of salaries of university lecturers. So the lion's share of lecturers in terms of their salaries were taken over by the government. But you still have a sizable number also with the responsibility entirely on the shoulders of the college. So what that means is the universities, public universities, not least the University of Sierra Leone, is constrained to hire staff. You have to secure the concurrence, and that's the word. Whenever you want to hire staff, you have to secure the concurrence of both the Ministry of Higher Education and the Ministry of Finance. Over the years, it's been a challenge. It's a challenge because there has been an astronomical rise in enrollment. The number of students is increasing drastically. And you look at the ratio, the teacher-student ratio, it's also growing. It means we need additional staff, but the university is constrained. It's very much constrained in the sense that we cannot recruit because we have to have approval from the Ministry of Finance, and that's a serious challenge.
Okay, thank you so much. With that, how we end the podium this afternoon. Just a reminder of our quote of the day, which comes from Thomas Sowell, and it says, "People who enjoy meetings should not be in charge of anything." Thank you so much to our guests from Footprint Africa, the University of Sierra Leone, and Political Party Regulations Commission. Many thanks for watching the podium. The podium returns on Thursday. Do get yourself a wonderful day and good afternoon.